I will turn off my video to add the bandwidth. Yeah. Maybe Kyle, can you turn off the video?
Yeah, Kyle, could you turn off your video, and that'll give me more bandwidth for the videos that I'm going to show. They'll play more smoothly. Thank you. Okay, mine is turned off. Oh, that's interesting. Everybody disappeared. Okay. I'm going to paste some links here into the chat. See if that works. Excellent. Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. When you're shooting 360-degree video, you typically run into two problems. First, since the camera's resolution covers the full 360 degrees, any view that you choose from within that video will cover a smaller angle and thus have significantly less resolution. The second problem is, where do you put the camera crew so that they don't show up in the shot? A fairly new drone product, the Insta360 Sphere, claims to solve that. Note that it's a 360-degree camera that can be attached to a DJI Mavic Air 2 or 2S drone. And so here's the promo video from Insta360, and I put a link to the videos that I'm going to show in the chat. So let's see if I can get to that. Here's the promo video.
So I'm Gene, also known as Potato Jet on YouTube, where I take cameras out into the field and try not to crash drones. I'm still working on the last part. What's really cool about Insta360 is that all I have to worry about when I'm filming is hitting that record button and just generally placing the camera where it needs to be. Then later I get to compose that shot afterwards. And now we can have it in a drone. I'm super excited to try out the Insta360 Sphere, the new invisible drone 360 camera. I'm a fan of the new camera. It's this nice, clean unibody design that has the lenses built in the battery, the memory card, and you just wrap it around. It takes 5 or 10 seconds to install, and you're good to go. So we're hanging out with my buddy Oscar, who's gonna be doing some cool tricks on his bike. Now, I think the most exciting thing about the Insta360 Sphere is that there are no limits on what kind of shots you can get. There's actually a lot of AI technology inside of the app, which will do a lot of the work for you to really match up with your vision. You can still record with your primary camera. If you miss the composition, you can pull from a secondary camera. So it completely stitches out the drone. It's not going to get your propellers or aircraft in the shot. Being able to fly without worrying about the composition is just like a whole different experience. You get the drone in the right position, and then the framing gets done afterwards. The camera avoids all the sensors, so there's no interference issues with the GPS or anything like that. You're able to fly just as you would without it on. We have flow state stabilization. So even if your flying's a little bit rough, you're going to end up with a super smooth shot. So it's easy to attach. It's easy to fly. Aerial 360 videos are super easy now. Shoot now and you point later, right? When you're flying, you're the pilot, but then later on, you are the cinematographer that gets to go and frame up your shots. You're able to get these kinds of shots with a beginner set of skills. With the Insta360 Sphere, it's easier than ever to get impossible drone shots.
Okay. So did that video play fairly smoothly?
Yes. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Okay, good. Let's go to the next one here. Now, I've also included a link to the following video, which I highly recommend. It provides a good overview of the product, and here's some additional footage shot with the Insta360 Sphere from that video.
There's also on the app, it's got Shot Lab. So if you're not comfortable at first doing your own editing, this will take the clips that you've just recorded and give you options of different creative ideas, what you can do automatically. So on this example here, this is the horizon tilt. And this will mimic some Inception-like flying where the drone looks like it's spinning like this. But really, it's not. It's just flying forwards. But you get this really cool looking shot. And there are dozens and dozens of different automated shots that you can all create through the apps. And by changing the direction of all the footage, you can then mimic FPV style flying as well. So you can change directions, you can add flips, you can add banks, you can create really good looking FPV style shots. But simply just by flying forwards, up or down with your drone, you can get shots just like this. Relating to the actual specs of both these cameras.
Okay. It shoots at 5.7K, by the way, and it will let you shoot RAW and HDR. So there's more. If you check out that video, I've just shown you a small portion of it. It'll give you a lot more information. Now, I've heard some users reporting stitching problems, particularly when the drone changes speed, and some complain of vibration and rolling shutter artifacts as well. Some users also say that the desktop app provided by Insta360 is much better than the phone app. So when you're editing your videos in post-production, you're probably a lot better off with the desktop app. I'll play just the intro of the next video, which I highly recommend, which describes these problems and provides workarounds to solve them. Plus, it covers alternative drones. I've also put a link to it in the chat. So let's play that.
That is pretty cool, right? So this new invisible drone from Insta360 allows you to capture some very interesting FPV-like video without knowing how to fly an FPV.
Nope.
I will teach you how to create that video you just watched step by step with or without the Insta360 Sphere. This unbiased review video will go beyond what you already know of the Insta360 Sphere. Compare it with my Mavic 3 and Insta360 One X2 professional setup and the beta FPV Pebble 360 1R drone to tell you 10 things you have not heard on the internet. So don't buy the Insta360 Sphere just yet until you watch this video. What do? Let's go.
Okay, that's all that I'm going to show of that particular video. If you noticed, here, let me get my notes back here. If you notice the thin red drone in that clip, That's called the Pavo 360, Pavo 360, no spaces. That may be a better drone for 360-degree shooting indoors. That's because the top and bottom cameras are closer together, which should make the stitching better when viewing closer objects. Check out the rest of that video for more info about that. I'm not going to show the video, but I'm providing one more link to a presentation that shows you how to remove the sound of the drone from the video, which appears to be doable. You need that if the drone is near actors. So I'll show you the video links one more time and paste them again into the chat. And so that's it. Do you have any questions?
Oh, those are really good. Yeah, thank you so much for
That was
sharing.
good, yeah. Good presentation,
Yeah, the Pavo 360 drone, I checked that out a little bit. Unfortunately, it only has a battery life of like somewhere between 3 and 7 minutes, depending on what you're doing. And so indoors, that's probably not too much of a problem because you can just very quickly, slap in new battery packs. But if you're outdoors, that means you have to land that drone before those batteries wear out. And so that could be a little bit dicey outdoors. And it's got no GPS, so which would make it a little bit more difficult to fly outdoors. But indoors, you're not going to get a GPS signal anyways. So that doesn't matter. But it is an expensive system to get that, and the 360-degree camera add-on for it would cost you probably a little over $1,000. So it's not a cheap setup. The Insta360 Sphere, the camera alone costs, I think it's on discount right now. It's selling for around $390. Plus you have to buy the Maverick 2 or 2S drone. And depending on which of those you get, it's going to be probably around $1,000 or more. So this stuff isn't cheap. But if you're doing 360 video production, it's an interesting approach.
Yeah, so so I think all those are great. Jim, are you going to produce a lot of like 360 videos?
I've shot some 360 stuff before. And in fact, in that last video, one of the things they talk about is using a 9-foot pole instead of a drone. Of course, you don't need any permission to shoot with a 9-foot pole, whereas you do for a drone.
Yeah,
so
right.
That's interesting. And it's always interesting to get your camera up in the air a little bit. And I've shot actually before with something similar to that. I shot with a Ricoh Theta 360-degree camera on a 6-foot pole. And I walked around through downtown Pasadena with that. And the interesting thing is nobody looked at me at all. Nobody paid any attention at all. Now, maybe they thought I was just crazy, and they were thinking, don't look at him, don't look at him, he's crazy. But nobody paid attention. And, so that put me up, put the camera up maybe about 10, 11 feet. And you can see a lot of things that you normally can't see from eye level view when you're like 10 feet off the ground. And, like if you walk through next to a construction site, you can see all the construction, which they normally block off. And so it's sort of cool. And the camera, I doubt that anyone could have actually seen the camera, which was only, the size of your thumb. And it was probably difficult to see me because of the base that it was mounted on was probably as big as I was looking down from the camera. So it's sort of cool. So a 9-foot pole would be sort of cool. I have constructed a 16-foot tripod before. And shot from that with a pair of GoPro-like cameras. And so you get stereo 3D from that. And that worked out very well. But those a 16-foot tripod just scares the heck out of me, because if it should fall down in the wind or something like that, I mean, you could do some significant damage. So, so anyways, that's some other stuff that you can do.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all those pretty cool stuff with us. And
Interesting.
I don't know, because I'm going to move to San Francisco. So yeah, I haven't really explored there the area, and I saw there are a lot of mountains and national park. Maybe I was wrong. And I saw like there are a lot of lagoons. It's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know that area, but it might be cool to have a drone, flying all over the city, and there are a lot of mountains, so some combinations that would be cool. Yeah.
I know the federal government just instituted in September some new drone rules. And I don't know how this all shakes out with the current.
The city can city fly on top, because I remember when I work in West Hollywood, and they have a restricted rule about drone, because there are a lot of celebrities will be in Hollywood Boulevard, right? And it seems like there's a really famous hotel called Roosevelt Hotel. I don't know. I forgot the name of it, but it's a very famous hotel, and there are a lot of celebrities, go there, and they have pool, and it's, open area. And a lot of people said that, before they can see a lot of drones flying, on top of, the pool area and trying to shoot some celebrities. So so it seems like good and bad, if the celebrity, and they, it feels like there's no privacy for, people who go out in the outdoor, or, there's no ceiling, and, it's like an open area. And
You're
what
not
if
supposed to be flying it above people? Santa Monica has outlawed drones.
outlawed drone?
Yeah, the police there use them. I was shooting a panorama on Santa Monica Beach one night, and the police flew a drone over me.
Oh my
And
God. And
I thought, well, that's interesting. At least I'm protected. They're sitting there staring at me with my camera gear and everything. And in fact, it showed up in my shot, which was interesting. It had an interesting streak in my shot. So I like that. But you can't fly drones in Santa Monica. With the new federal regulations, you're supposed to have a facility on your drone. You're supposed to add like a little transmitter to it, which adds weight to the drone, reduces battery life. And that transmitter will send out a signal to like the FAA or the police or whatever, that will tell where you launched your drone, at what time you launched it, and where you're at constantly while you're flying your drone.
wow.
And then, it ends its transmission when you land. And I know the drone manufacturers were not too happy about that. I don't know if they've implemented that in their drones. I know at the time DJI hadn't, because they wanted to implement their own system, so they were upset about this system. And so I don't know. I haven't checked lately how that's shaken out in the market and how it's affected the drone users and so forth. Also, they were very strict about where you could fly your drones. The FAA has a sort of a licensing process that you can go through to become like a professional drone pilot, licensed drone pilot. But without that, there are only certain areas that you can fly your drone. And so anyways, that's another wrinkle, another complication. Lately, I guess somebody was flying drones over Washington, D.C. into restricted areas that they weren't supposed to fly in, and they had hacked the software on the drone so that it could fly into those areas. And so, there's going to be an investigation of who's doing that and what they're doing and all that stuff. So it's a developing area.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that if, for example, like, can I ask you, when you fly your drone in Santa Monica, is the police, they show up as a drone, or like a police drone show up, or the real police show up?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I suppose if they had information from your drone, then they could send you some sort of violation because they'll identify you.
Oh,
Otherwise, I know, for example, DJI, which is the most popular drone manufacturer, they had a box, and I know that the local airport near me had this box that would detect whenever you launched your DJI drone, even if you just launched it inside your garage.
wow.
And there was some identifying information so they could track you down if you wanted to. So even without those more restrictive regulations, they had a way of tracking your drone. And so, anyways, in Santa Monica, I don't know exactly what happens. If you fly a drone against the rules in Santa Monica, I don't know what happens to you, if anything. I don't know if they enforce it. I just don't know. It's a good question. I'm sure there are articles about this.
Yeah. And I think this is a very interesting thing, because a long time ago, actually, I worked on a 360 camera campaign back in 2017. So
Was that with Insta360?
yeah, it's not, it's called OPIC 360, but because Insta 360 was our competitor, so I bought it, and I took a lot of shots of using Insta 360. During that time, I think we are trying to shoot some 360 videos on Santa Monica Beach, and we have to get all the regulations done. We need to sign the paper and rent, a few hours or per day, and which is like a few $1,000s for a professional camera to show up, or a professional crew to show up on the Santa Monica Beach.
Yeah,
they have a specific license. Yeah.
Right. If you do professional, I've run into this myself.
Yeah.
If you do professional photography on Santa Monica Beach, meaning if you look like you've got a professional camera set,
right.
Then they will stop you, and you have to have a permit. And in order to get the permit, you have to have $500,000 in liability insurance. And then they charge you for the permit. The liability insurance alone costs you about $1,200 a year. In fact, I had a musical performer whose agent wanted me to shoot her on the beach. It was just going to be too complicated. You want to shoot in the middle of the day, which is complicated enough. Because of the direct sunlight causing all kinds of shadow problems and so forth. So I didn't do it, but that's what you have to do to get your permit to shoot down there.
Yeah, right. So I think this is a very interesting area. And since, what's the, boundary between the government secret or people's privacy versus the art or the creation, right? Or or technology, right? So so you see, drone is very convenient, and the art is beautiful, or the video is beautiful. However, is that more important for people to use drone to shoot whatever they like, or versus people's privacy or government's privacy, right? And in the future, when I see a lot of metaverse or virtual world article, I'm thinking about what's the most important thing for government to exist, right? If in the future we live in virtual world, or the majority of our time living in virtual world, and right now it doesn't really seem there's a formal regulations in virtual world, right? It's more about, enterprise trying to, find out what's the rule.
Plus, it's hard to do it because, like with a drone, you're flying it in a physical location, which is with the metaverse, it could be anywhere. So who has jurisdiction over it? That's going to be one of the big issues. Is if somebody creates rules, how on earth are you going to enforce them? And in what court would you enforce them, and all of that?
Yeah, and I saw a bunch of, like a lot of scam, cryptocurrency, Web3 or blockchain or a lot of stuff
Right.
just because it's all digital and there's no liability or, there's no ownership and the duty or who needs to be responsible for this, and it's unknown and there's nobody. So that's why there's a lot of loophole for people to commit crime or, take advantage of it. So yeah, so this is still a very interesting area to explore. Yeah, so I mean, the drone is amazing. And I don't know, maybe in the future, the 360 video and will become, the 360 scamming of the, 3D world, right? For example,
Well, you have to get permission to do the flight. So, I mean, so there are, right now in the US, there's a fair amount of regulations about the drones.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for sharing though.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I will share like a real quick the news. I think today's news I want to share is that and Kyle, in the future, feel free to share anything you kind of see very interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this is kind of like a open discussion, and we just share what we like, and there's no real format. We just just share what we see this week. So I really like this story or this news. It's called Starbucks Brewing Revolutionary Web3 Experience for its Starbucks Rewards members. Okay, so in this one is that they are still in the beta stage, but we all know Starbucks is very good at their or very pioneer at their royalty program, right? I remember I downloaded Starbucks app a long time ago. Before I purchased my own coffee machine, I used to drink Starbucks coffee. And the thing about it is that I have to collect a lot of stars, right? They have like stuff. Once you scan your barcode, can get a few, Starbucks stars and in the big cups, and they have a progress bar, and you can, accumulate those stuff and in exchange of in-store gifts, for example, like big cups, right? And which allows you to deduct a few dollars or a few cents every time when you refill or something, or some cups or some notebooks, right? Or you can in exchange of free drinks. So this is kind of something that I think is very interesting, that using Web3 as you rewarding programs instead of just an app that accumulate stars every time you purchase, and they are exploring the Web3 types of royalty program that allows the customer to play to earn, right? So imagine if they have a lot of NFT, right? And people start engaging a lot of activities on their Web3 platforms. Actually, they have a waiting list, and I joined waiting list. I mean, you need to join it, and you can see a lot of interesting stuff. So Starbucks, I think it's called Starbucks Odyssey experience. So pretty much they are leveraging Web3 technology and allows their royalty program or their customers to access the experience of ownership, right, through that gamified experience. So pretty much they can they will join a journey, and once they complete the journey within a digital collectible, they will get journey stamp, right? So I think this is a very interesting way of doing things, because you see they got NFT and all those stuff can in exchange of some rewards. So yeah, so some people even said that this types of experience will be the future of Web3 integration for the big brands, right, for their royalty program. I would say through storytelling, gamification, and royalty program marketing, branding, and the combination of with the high technology. Yeah, so I am looking forward to see and to play, Starbucks royalty programs. Any concept or any feedback for this royalty program? Feel free to unmute yourself.
I think it's interesting to see, concrete examples of businesses doing things like this. Doing something that makes money for them using the metaverse.
Yeah, right now I think a lot of people's metaverse is more like a I would say more conceptual and not many real usage. But I would say Roblox, right? Roblox, few days ago we talked about that. A lot of kids, they want their allowance to be Robux instead of the real USD dollars because they can, purchase a lot of cool, they can style their avatars, right? So yeah, so this is another very interesting article. It's on MIT Technology Review. The title is called "The Metaverse Fashion Styles Are Here." So yeah, in this article, it talks about we all know that fashion, right? Fashion, it seems like a little bit of high-end and expensive, and only a certain people are very interested in fashion. But I think just by digitize all those fashions to metaverse, it makes fashion more approachable, right? Because before I wouldn't really focus on fashion or something, and I think anything fashion seems very expensive. But think about your digital avatar, right? And if things down to the 3D model or digital version, I think it might be affordable and people can, it's like a Barbie doll, right? People can, get a lot of accessories to their, to their avatars. For example, like Forever 21 merge with Roblox, right? So you can see a lot of interesting 3D combination or fashion. And it's just like a $60 or, like any dollars that is affordable for your avatar to dress fashionably, right? So yeah, it's like, an affordable price and people can, collect their dress. The interesting thing is that the metaverse seems like it's some people are trying to build it, or some company trying to build it out of nowhere, but some people are building it from their existing customers. So I think those types of from the existing customers, for example, like Roblox, right? I think those are more more sustainable. So for example, like kids can purchase something that is affordable and get a lot of really cool accessories to decorate their own avatars. So I think this is another new, digital fashion trend. Any thoughts, comments? Feel free to share.
I'm just sort of interested in how they digitally capture the fashions. And I don't know if they deal with things like how the fabric hangs and so forth and moves around. That's sort of an interesting area to me.
Yeah, I think if you see DressX has a lot of I would say something that is outside of materials and something that is not even possible to exist in real world, right? Something flying or something, like this types of dress, right? It's impossible for people to wear in reality, right? Like a dragon. Just think that this might cost a lot of money in real world, but it's possible to happen in virtual world. So you see. Yeah, so I would say maybe this is something that is open our imagination and for people to collect. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I personally, maybe I'm a little older. I think it's fine that I dress really not so cool. I mean, you see like a lot of Silicon Valley's, CEO, right? Like Mark Zuckerberg or, Steve Jobs, they just wear one t-shirt and the same t-shirt forever, right? I don't know if that is why we need to have so many dress that cost so much money, and in digital world that doesn't even, protect your body or keep yourself warm. Why I need to buy this, but it's just for me and more practical. But for a lot of kids, they probably want to look cool, like look different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's for more the kids, like the younger, like girls, they really enjoy all this. For the younger target market, yeah, they definitely enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm wearing an actual 360-degree Mona Lisa t-shirt. So it's, oh, that's interesting. She shows up by herself. That's interesting.
And Zoom detect Mona Lisa than your face.
Yes. So there's some face detection going on there.
Yeah.
So it's on the back as well. So that's an actual real physical t-shirt.
Yeah, the interesting thing about what's the definition of the clothes, right? Before we thought that clothes is kind of like, warm our body, and, the material is probably, like help us to cover our body or, give some social status. Now it transferred to a digital avatar. And I think the protecting body, this part might be, get rid of. But the showing the social status part might still remain. So maybe kids, they want to make, it's like a Barbie doll, right? They want to, and since all the kids is hanging there, they want their self looks cool. And I think when we were younger, we are seeking for social approval, right? We want to be cool. We want to be the lead. We want to looks cool. We want people to respect. But when we get old, I feel like that is kind of, we gain more self-confidence, and all those stuff kind of slowly fade away.
You're just too tired to deal with all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like, oh my God, I need to wear all those. Yeah, I mean, maybe kids, right? Kids are still exploring the world, still, seeking for people's approval. But
There was a Doctor Who episode about something similar to this, where he and his sidekick went to a church, and it was a church in space. And this particular church, when you went into the church, it would automatically put clothes on you that were imaginary clothes. Everyone else, when they looked at you, they would see these clothes, but you weren't actually wearing anything at all. And so Doctor Who has already covered this, so sort of ahead of.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Roblox and all those interesting fashion, it's for us to learn like the social behaviors of human beings, because once kids, they are well fed, right now, really worry about anything, and they start seeking for something that is more spiritual or more self-satisfaction through their digital avatar. So long time ago when we were kids, we play physically with other kids, right? So we don't really need all those stuff. But imagine if all the kids, they play virtually and they have virtual avatars, they might want to look cool and make sure all the kids thinks they are cool, right? So I think that makes sense for the youngster, right? So I think now, so this is today's news, and let's see what else. More. There's another news called Wendy's to open virtual reality Wendyverse restaurant April 2nd. So in this news, it talks about Wendy's Corporation is team up with Meta's Horizon World, and they are creating Wendyverse restaurant, right? So in Wendy's restaurant, if you see, if you see the trailer, you can see, people can play. It looks a little weird, but they can play some small games and probably, win some, actual food while playing around the little game that Wendy's provide, right? So yeah, it's really interesting that people start exploring the storytelling. Enterprise start exploring storytelling in the so-called digital world and creating more customer engagement and some potential royalty program or play to earn, those types of experience. Yeah, so yeah, more and more, branding in digital world will comes up. It's just the matter of where they put their, world, right? I don't know. I think, some people partner with other company and some people just create their own. And all the, I feel like all the brands, they are just throw little money and trying to test it out whether things works or not, and trying to learn from their success experience and build more. Yeah. Any thoughts, comments?
Do they deliver? Does Wendy's deliver?
Oh, deliver? I think so. As part of the brand is offering a sausage or bacon, eggs, cheese, biscuits for $1 by app or in restaurant. So yeah, so I think this is already happening, the Horizon Wendyverse, right? And then for more people to explore and to play to earn the sausage and bacon, eggs, right?
I wonder if there will be people inside Wendy's wearing their, VR/AR headset and eat while they're eating their hamburgers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that will be pretty cool. And I wouldn't say that it's normal to wear Oculus Quest or wear or Quest Pro or Vive Focus. If you want to see, I think I have another news regarding to Vive Focus. Yeah, so we can go here. This news is ZDNet, and the title is called Meetings in the Metaverse, Our Experience with HTC Vive Sync. So pretty much HTC Vive, they start their meeting metaverse and they are going to rent their equipment and all those types of sensors to enterprise. So you can see like, getting started, right? And you can edit your avatar and it's all business driven. So you can have a video call there and also, the, more like business too, which is great because ever since I work remotely, I haven't really wear anything formal. Usually it's just pajama, right? So yeah, so this is pretty cool. And they are renting out Vive Focus 3 headsets in, the more like business set meeting. So for example, if you are enterprise, you want to, have, for example, 1 user and you rent this, or 10 users or 20 users, and they have different perks. For example, if you want like facial tracking, eye tracking, right? And also enterprise plan per year, right? So it's kind of like the meeting experience for enterprise to meet remotely. Yeah, and the price is not cheap. It's, you see, like hardware, software total, it's around 2,000. So yeah, so this is like a subscription base for people to meet very formally in enterprise place. So yeah, and it allows people to collaborate remotely with more professional settings. So I think this is kind of a really good model for retention or to getting recurring incomes for for those metaverse or business settings. Any thoughts, comments?
it does seem like a lot of money.
Yeah, and I don't know.
How much does their headset cost?
I think their headsets is probably 1,300, and you see add bunch of things. Vive. Well,
So if you just buy it outright, it's $1,300.
I think so. Let's take a look. Vive Focus, right? Yeah, 1,300, right? And but you still need, you know, some hand tracking,
have to pay
remote
extra.
collaboration, right? Yeah.
Does the eye tracking come with it when you pay the $1,300 to buy it outright?
As far as I know, Quest Pro, it has the eye tracking and facial tracking already come with it. I don't really know about Vive. Let's take a look. Stay cool. Immersive 3D spatial audio. Yeah, that's fine in VR second. Focus. It doesn't seem like it so far when I see it. And it looks very similar to, yeah, see? Yeah, there's no facial or,
So you have to pay extra for that.
yeah, you need to have, you see specs, right? Yeah. Overview. Yeah, I don't see any, you know, control-free hands, safety mode, solid foundation, collaboration. Yeah, collaboration, you need to rent a place, right? Visualization, local learning, education, therapy, rehab. Yeah, 5K is fine. Yeah, this is all good. It's not like impressive, but all those features are normal. Yeah, yeah. I think the facial tracking and the lip syncing, you need to pay extra to get the tracker.
Now that's
So,
just software, isn't it? There's no hardware involved in that.
yeah, I think you might need a hardware in order to track.
Maybe need extra cameras or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's very expensive. I'd rather use Zoom. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So any other news you want to share? I think those are for today. I think today we learned a lot, like from James, right? Yeah, a lot of cool, you know, 360 tutorials teach us how to create a cool drone video shoot. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. And hopefully see you all next Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks
thanks
a
a
lot.
lot.
Bye-bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.